Hello everyone. In our today's class, we are going to discuss about parallel processing. Now, in the case of parallel processing, what is there? We have different tasks which are done by the computers in a fast fashion by executing it parallelly, which means that one part of a program might be processed by one processor and the other part is processed by the another. Like if we talk about multi-core systems, so there are separate cores on a processor, and all these cores execute a program, and certain part of it is executed on one core, other part is on the second, and other is on third and fourth. So that is a parallel processing. When multiple cores are processing the data, that is known as parallel processing. The purpose of this particular task is to speed up the computer processing, and there are different levels of parallel processing which we have. The first one is program level, like we are having one program, okay, one complete program. So one complete program is executed on one processor and the other program is executed on the other one. That is a program level. Then we have a procedure level or task level processing. In this case, parallel processing. In this case, the procedures or the functions which we write, they are executed in parallel on different computers. Whereas on the other one, there are instruction level. Now, in instruction level, inside a program, we might be having certain instructions. So those instructions, one instruction might be executed on one CPU, the other is executed on the other. That is inter-instruction level. And the last one is intra-instruction level, which means within one instruction, like this is one instruction, some part of that instruction is executed on one processor, other part is done on other processor. So then it is known as a intra-instruction level. So there are four levels. Intra means within an instruction, inter means between the instructions, procedure means we have a written a function of instructions. Then this is a procedure level or task level type of parallel processing. If we talk about this is program 1, we have another program known as program 2. So if this is executed on one core, this is executed on the other one, this will be a program level parallelism. Program level parallelism, then procedure level parallelism when we are having multiple values written inside a multiple instructions inside a function. Then the third type is between instructions, and the fourth type is within a single instruction, which is a intra instruction. So the lowest level or for this is the shift registers and registers with parallel load, because at the lower end they are the one who are going to perform the task, and at the higher level we have multiplicity of functional units that perform identical or different tasks. Like what does it mean, the last higher level? Like if we are having a processor, and in one processor we are having one core only, definitely we will be having a single ALU, we will be having a single control unit, we will be having a single arithmetic place where we are going to perform the arithmetic operations. But if we divide this into multiple cores, and each and every core is having its own ALU, so there are four ALUs now. So all the tasks or the four tasks can be executed at a single time. Okay, so we simply create multiple number of functional units even though the controlling unit is going to remain same. Okay, so there are different architectures of the parallelism, that how you can achieve this parallelism, how it this thing, like your different type of levels of parallelism can be achieved. So we have different structures of your systems. So we will discuss about that in our next slides. Let us talk about the Flynn's classification of parallel computers, how we divide the architecture of parallel computers. So first of all, in the architectural classification, the Flynn classification says that there are two type of streams which go through your computer. The first one is instruction stream, which carries all the instructions, and the second type of stream is data stream. Now in the data stream we have the data which we want to process. So there are two different streams which carry your data, or you can say instructions and all the data. So they are instruction stream and data stream. Now how we are going to make the classifications? First of all, we have on one side number of instruction streams, how many number of instruction streams are there. Then on the other end we have number of data streams. So how many data streams are there? So we have number of instruction streams, we have single and multiple. Number of data streams are single and multiple. Now SISD stands for single instruction and single data. Single instruction and single data. Then the next type is single instruction multiple data, which is also known as SIM. Single instruction but multiple data streams. Then we have MISD or MIMD. If you talk MISD, it means multiple instructions but single data. Then we have MIMD, which stands for multiple instructions and multiple data. Now, what does it mean? I will just tell you an example. You will be able to understand all of them. Now, single instruction, single data, if we are having such kind of a setup, what we can imagine, just take it as an example. So what it will be like, we will be having two different datas like this will be the data, and the third thing is the operation. Now I can say here we will be having data, this will be a data, and here we have instruction, or you can say your opcode, whatsoever you want to call it. Now if I say there is a single stream of data, what does it mean? There is a single stream, like there is one value A and one value B. This is a single stream, only a single stream with single data like A, B, that's it. And this is one execution which your processor can do. Then it will be known as single instruction, single data. There is a single data like A and B. There is a single operation which is plus. Single instruction, single data. If we have single instruction and multiple data, so what it might, like this, we have different operations. We have A, after A we also have B, we also have C. On this side we have Z, we have Y, we have X. Now what is there? Instruction is going to remain same, it is positive like plus only, but the datas are more than one. Like we are having a stream of data, like this is A and Z, this will be B and Y, this will be C and X. What is changing? Data is changing but instruction is remaining same, which means it will be single instruction but multiple data. Single instruction, because instruction is going to remain only for positive, like we have to add the data, so there is a single operation, that is why single instruction, but the datas are multiple, so it will be multiple data. Then After this, we have the next type. We can have MISD, multiple instructions but single data. So in this case, like if we have a value A plus B, we might have A minus B, we might have A divided by B, we might have A into B. So we might have different operations to perform, but the data is going to remain same, like single data, but multiple operations. So this will be known as MISD, multiple instructions, but single data. So this is just an example how you can understand about MISD, SIMD, and MIMD. Now let us talk about MIMD, multiple instructions, multiple data. So same as we were talking about this earlier, A, we have a value B, we have a value C, we have a value D. For this we have a value Z, Y, we have X, we have W. Now in this case, what is there? Multiple streams of data and multiple streams of instruction. So this is MIM, multiple instruction and multiple data. This was just to make you understand what is the difference between single instruction, single data, what is the difference between single instruction and multiple data. So all these values were there. Now the next thing which we have, that is the architecture of each and every one, like how SISD is managed, how MISD is there, how we create SIMD, and how we create MIMD. So that is what we are going to cover in the next. So first of all, we have SISD. So in SISD, as you can see, and we have also discussed that there will be a single instruction, but multiple data streams. Now, in short, if whenever we talk about the instructions, like when we talk about instruction, who is going to issue you the instruction? That will be the control unit. Control unit is the one which is going to give you the number of instructions. If we are having a single control unit, it is going to issue a single command at one time. So then, yes, you can remember it in this way. If the controlling unit is one, then it will be a single instruction data. If there are multiple CUs, then it means we have multiple number of instructions. So we have controlling unit, we have a processing unit, CU, and we have memory. This is what we have in a SISD architecture. So the data we will get from memory and it will go to the controlling unit and processing unit will process it. This is the instruction stream and this is the data stream. Okay, CU and PU. So data stream is there, we have instruction stream here and memory. So this is known as single instruction and single data. So no multiple number of instructions are issued at a single time. At a single time, only one instruction stream will be issued and one processing, one data stream will be issued. Now, if we talk about instruction, we are saying instruction stream. Why it is going to control unit? Why it is going to CU? If you remember, in your chapter 5, we have discussed about a decoder which decodes the data like instructions, whatsoever instruction your CPU is going to receive, it will simply decode that instruction. So that is the task of the controlling unit. So control and hardware logic which we were having, logical control was there in your unit number chapter number 5. So that is the control unit. Now control unit is going to receive the data from the instruction stream. Now, what are its characteristics? We have a single computer with a controlling unit, processor, and a memory. So, instructions are stored inside the memory and are executed sequentially. We may or may not have parallel processing. Now, why we may have, like if we are having multiple number of processing units and multiple number of CUs, we can have a parallel processing. If you not having, then it is not possible. Okay. If you want to achieve the pipeline, achieve the parallel processing, we need to go with pipeline. I think you are might be aware about the pipeline which we had discussed, and we are also going to discuss in fetch, decode, execute, and store, or fetch, decode, calculate the effective address, and store. This is a FDE. This is a pipeline. So we will discuss this pipeline again in this unit as well. The next architecture which we have, that is SIMD. So this is a little bit complex, so I will not draw it on the board. I will just let you understand this from the slide only. So I will just tell you what it is and how it works. Now, in the case of SIMD, we are going to have single instruction, but the data will be multiple. So which means we will be having a single instruction with us, and what it signifies, if we are having a single instruction, it simply tells you that we will be having a single CU. Single control unit will be there, which is shown as well. So single control unit, but multiple data is there, which means we are going to get a multiple number of data. So in that case, memory will be connected by the memory modules in the alignment network. So alignment network, what we have studied in the last lecture, that we will be having a network through which multiple processors can connect with each other. So this is a kind of alignment network which we use. Like it can be a Banyan network. There are different type of networks which we have, Omega and Banyan. So we are also having some other bus systems which we have discussed in the last class as well. So that is a SIMD. Now in this case, what is happening? We are having a single instruction which is issued by a control unit, and there are different processors which are going to execute that single instruction. Whatsoever instruction is issued to all the processors are going to perform the same operation. Like if it is a add instruction, like if we assume that it is a add instruction, so that add instruction will be there. If there is a add instruction, so all the CPUs, like if you are having 4 CPUs, so all the CPUs are going to perform the add operation only, because this is the only instruction which is issued by the controlling unit to all the CPUs. So all the CPUs are going to perform the same task. So this is what we have in a SIMD architecture. So processors are going to perform the task. If they want to access the memory, they need to use the alignment network, and each and every processor will be having separate data to execute. Multiple number of data, like it might be performing the task on A plus B, this might be performing the task on C plus D, this might be performing the task on E plus F, this will be on G plus H. But now what is happening in this case? Data is different on all the processors, but the instruction is same. So this is what we have in single instruction and multiple data. There is only a one copy of the program. A single controller executes one instruction at a time. This is what we have in SIMD. Now the next is MIST. Now what it means, multiple number of instructions, but we are gonna have a single data. So single data, but multiple number of instructions. Now if I want to just give you the illustration at this place, so what it will be? It will be something like this. I will just give you the illustration here. It will be a kind of architecture like this is going to be A and B, A and B, A and B. The instructions can be different. Instructions are different, but the data is same. Okay, but there is one a restriction on this. We don't see such kind of systems. What is the reason? How is it possible that, and what is the requirement? Like, if we are having two different values, like a plus b, why should we perform the same operation at the same time? We are not going to use it much. We don't need such kind of application in which the data is going to remain same. Why? Because our task is, or you can say our achievement will be, if we are able to execute multiple datas with multiple number of instructions. That is our main goal. Our goal is not to execute single data on multiple instructions. Okay, single data on multiple instructions are not going to give us any kind of a you can say beneficial output. That is why these kind of MISD systems don't exist much. Now, just to see this, what we have a memory module, we have a controlling unit, each processor. Now, because the instructions are different, so controlling unit is going to issue different commands. But the memory which we are having, memory will be used for the data. Oh, sorry, for the data. Okay. So data stream will be single. Like memory is going to get connected with all the processors and they are going to get the same data to process. So this is your MISD type of architect processing. But this is not common. We don't need it much. Our ultimate goal is to execute multiple data and multiple instructions. So that is what this is going to do. This is very simple in architecture. It is MIMD. What we have done, instead of having the different controlling units, now a processor is going to be responsible performing all the tasks. Okay, this processor which we are having, it is going to have its own controlling unit. Everything will be there. So what is happening in this case? Instructions are different as well as data is different. This will get a data CD, EF, GH, or any other data whichever you want. This is just an example. So what is going to happen? We are using a shared memory in this case. We have a shared memory and all the interconnections are there. So shared memory is there, which is shared between this. We have a processor with a memory. That is why it is known as PM, processor with memory. So we have different processors with different memories and they can work together and they can execute the data with multiple instructions and multiple data. So that is what we have done already. I think you are aware about them. Why? Because there are two types under MIMD. There are two types. First one is shared memory, which we had already discussed, in which they are using a shared memory to interact, the architecture which we have studied. And the second one is message passing, in which they send a message from one processor to other. Okay? It sends the message from one processor to another processor. So that is what we have in message passing multiprocessors. So most of the systems which we are talking about right now, in which we are having multiple cores and multiple processors, they work on MIMD architecture, multiple instructions and multiple data. Now the next thing which we are going to study, that is our pipeline. Now we have discussed about pipeline in your last units as well. We are going to cover the same thing again. Oh, what is it? It is a technique of decomposing the sequential process into sub operations. Like we are going to divide a big task into small tasks, with each sub process being executed in a special dedicated segment that operates concurrently with all the other segments. So simply what we are going to do is, if we are having an instruction, we are going to divide it into different segments. There are four segments in this case. It is a characteristic of a pipeline that several computations can be in progress in distant segments at the same time. Right? If this is the time t0, this is t1, this is t2, this is t3. What they are saying, each segment performs, it is characteristic of the pipeline that several computations can be in progress in distant segments at the same time. Like there can be multiple number of executions happening in different sections of a pipeline. Like if this is fetching in this pipeline, if it is fetching at this place, if it is decoding, this part can fetch the instruction at that time. So that is what we do. So we will discuss about that. After that, each segment performs a partial processing dictated by a way that the task is dictated. The result obtained from the computation in each segment is transferred to the next segment in the pipeline. So you can just imagine pipeline as a, you can say, car assembly line. You might have seen a car assembly line in which we are having a line on which different cars are there. So first car is, there are different bays. In one bay we are going to check the lights and if anything. In the other bay there is a engine task. There is a clutch gear and everything. There's not light. You can say it is electricity and everything. Then there is something where there are engines, where engines are assembled, and there is one another bay in which seats and covers are installed, and there is a last one bay which is testing bay, so where the car is tested. So there are different bays on which different tasks are done. So it might be possible that one car is here. When this car is there, the electric signals, the electric components are checked. After some time this moves to the next one. Now there is a place for a single car. So inside the engine section there can be only a single car, but there can be one another car in the electric signal. Similarly, once this is forwarded to the next place, like at this place, once it reaches here, there might be some other car which shifts from the electric partitioning to this place, and there will be some other car which was outside earlier. This shifts to this place to check the electric. Now, this thing is known as pipeline, where we are not uh, stopping the process to take place. Like, just imagine it as a door. This is a, if this is a door, and let me just give you the example in this way. So, just imagine it as a this way. Like we are having multiple processes to execute. On this side, there are multiple processes which are standing in the queue, and this door is closed. Now, this door is closed and written that assembly line is busy or line is busy. Okay, because one car is there. There are four different things to be performed inside that line, but the car is currently at this place, but the door is closed because they are saying there is a car inside it, and till the time all these four processes are not completed, this door is not going to open because line is busy. Now this is a normal execution. Like once the car enters into this, the door will close. No other process can enter. So that is a single type of processing. Now this was the normal one. When we talk about the pipeline, now this is the second approach. In the case of pipeline, they will never close this door. Everyone will go in line. Like once this car moves forward from this electric section to this car will move here. Once this car will move to the next location, this car which was here will move this place. Then the next car will reach here. Then after that, This car which was here will move to this place, this, and this. So we will have two cars. So this will increase the capability of your lines or base. This is what approach the companies are currently using to assemble cars and different type of devices as well. So they use a kind of pipeline. That is why now this is known as pipeline in the context of computers. If we talk about this concept used by automobile companies, they use it the term assembly line. So that is also a similar concept. They keep on moving the cars and integrate different parts at different base and then keep on shifting it to the next place. See, same thing happens in our pipeline. In first place, if it is fetching, then it will not be done. Second device at t1 time, it is in fetch phase, decode phase. Now it is the second step like this, and first bay can fetch the data. So that is what the simple, if we don't talk about this process, what we can say is assume this is car 1. This is I will just take an example. This is car 1, this is for car 2, and don't think these as t0, t2, t1, t3. Just don't think it like this. Just think this is a electric signal, electric place. This is for engine. This is for seats, and this is for testing. So these are the different stages which we have. Now let us just put this example here. So what is going to happen? First of all, at this place, this is the car 1. So car 1 is going to have the electricity work done. Then at this place, this is the time t2. It is going to have engine work. This is having seating work. This is having testing work. Now, if this is going to be time t1, t2, t3, and t4, what is going to happen? Like at t1, first car was getting its electric signal. So at that time, the second car is not in the queue. At the second time, when the first car started its engine work, the first car entered in the electric signal task or in the electric bay. When the second car started performing at time t2, like at time t2, this started with its seat work. The second car enters in the engine bay. At the third time, when this car entered in the testing, the second car entered in the seats section. And when this was out, it entered in the testing place. Now, this thing is going to be same for different number of cars. So this is one, two, three. Even if we are having multiple number of cars, the same process will be followed. Now, what condition is there? No two cars can be at the same bay at the same time. Like you will never see a car in both the bays. Like this is car 2, this is car 3. No two cars are going to be in the same bay. So that is what a condition we have in pipeline. Same process is there. So no two processes will be in a same phase at the same time. Okay. Now this concept which I am saying, it is feasible or it is there for a single issue processor. Please remember this thing. You might see a number of bays. Single issue processor, if we are having a single issue processor, then this task is that you will not see two cars in a single bay. But if we have a k issue processor, then definitely it is possible that multiple cars can be inside a single place. Now what is a k issue processor? You can just imagine it as a special type of assembly on which multiple cars can stand in a single bay. Okay, so instead of having one electric portion, we might have two cars which can stand at the same time. So if there are possibility that two cars can stand at a one bay, then it will be known as two issue processor in the case of computers. If there are four cars which can stand, you can will call it as four issue processor. So this is what we have when we talk about pipeline. So that is why I have taken an example which is more common to you, like electric cars, or not electric cars, cars generally. Okay. So this process or this type of assemblies give you a faster way to execute your data or faster way to assemble your cars. And this type of method is used in most of the assembly lines. And the concept is same, pipeline. Now we will have an example. We are having this example of pipeline, and this pipeline example is quite long. So we are going to complete it in the next class, because we are not having only a small example, we are also having how we calculate and what are the different stages of this and how a pipeline actually executes. So we are having different stages in it and how pipelines speed up the process. So this example we will do in the next class. So thank you everyone. If you have any question, you can ask during the class. Thank you.